looks. Picked off, James Smith. Roberts looking downfield, screen pass, wide receiver screen. Nash Taylor breaking it upfield, and there he goes. Rolling, trying to avoid pressure, and he's not going to. They throw out Shaw. Wrapped up in the backfield. They hand off. Siegel is going to rock it in. Renard finds a hole, and he squirts upfield. There he goes, Ryan Renard. He's back, baby. Touchdown. Hello and welcome to the Olympus pregame show on OlyTV. I'm Mark Schwartz alongside
Jackson Bodily,
and we'll be your analysts for this pregame show today. Well, last week, Olympus took down the number 19 Payson Lions 49-21 to advance in the 5A state playoffs. The Titans dominated both sides of the ball. On offense, Olympus put up 405 total yards with a very balanced attack. Another side note is Olympus was +1 in the turnover battle. Jack, we talked about this last week, but when Olympus is better than -2, they win. What was so important about them winning the turnover battle against Payson?
Well, Payson's a team that they turn over the ball a lot, and they also get a lot of turnovers, so that's really what they've been doing all year. And for Olympus to beat them in the turnover battle was a huge first step. And what I saw in that game was it was a continuation of the Skyline game. They came out ready to play. Everyone played well, the whole team. There was great play calling, just the whole team stepping up another level for playoffs. And if they play like that against Stansbury, they have a great chance of winning.
All right, well, keep your eye on that turnover margin against the Stallions. All right, the winner of tonight's game will take on the winner of East and Spanish Fork. So, if Olympus wins and if East wins, we could get a rematch between the Titans and the Leopards here at Olympus. Let's break down the teams. Olympus, they're number 14. They were 6-4 in the regular season, 4-2 in region, tied for second in Region 6. Seth Roberts had another great game against Payson. He threw for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks. This was his second game in a row with 2+ passing touchdowns. Jack, what did you see from Seth Roberts?
Well, I've seen them in the past 2 games use these quick little passes in the passing game to just make quick decisions, get the ball out of there fast, to not allow the defensive line to get pressure so you can have a quick open throw. We've seen them involve lots of different receivers and running backs, so you just don't know who the ball is going to go to and win. And so they've been changing it up and used the pass a lot more here in the past 2 games.
Some other players to note are James Smith. He posted 5 tackles and dominated the pass defense with 3 INTs, including 1 pick 6. He's poised to have another great night against Stansbury at that strong safety position. Matt Herron averages 5.1 tackles a game. He has 4 sacks on the year, 1 fumble recovery. He's 3rd in 5A with 21 TFLs. He is the anchor on that defensive line, Jack. What did you see from this defensive line against Payson?
Well, this defensive line of Olympus, they're very prepared. They knew what to expect, and they would get pressure consistently. And also, when they drop back to pass, even a few times they'd get their hands up and they would hit the ball down, and they knew exactly the sort of routes their running backs Payson would run. So they would jump on those routes and hit the ball down a few times. So the defensive line was very prepared. They've been playing well just like this whole team. And I think their defensive line has been the strength of their defense so far the whole year and past 2 games.
Let's go to the Stansbury Stallions. They went undefeated in region, won Region 7. They were 8-2 in the regular season. They are headed by their running back, Nate Bushnell. He averages 97.2 yards a game. That's 11th in 5A. He leads the team with 14 total touchdowns. He's tied for 6 in rushing touchdowns for 5A, and he's tied for 2nd in 5A for the longest run of the season. He is the Stallions' Ryan Renard, Jack. What does Olympus need to do to stop him?
Well, I think for Olympus, they've been stopping the run really well with their defensive line. I think with this running back, who's very explosive and very good, they might want to play a little bit with the linebackers up or move them over, you know. And like with their defensive line, if they're able to get through and hit him behind the line of scrimmage like they've been doing, they should be just fine. So I think they don't need to panic and change too much up. But I think that's a few of the things they can do if they aren't able to stop him early on.
Another player of note is middle linebacker Dawson Chapman. In the last game against Timpanogos, he posted 8 tackles, 1 TFL, and 1 INT. He could have a big impact against this new Olympus balanced attack. Something to note for the Stallions, they throw the ball 22 times a game and run it about 34 times a game. So a more run-heavy team for this Stallion offense. For game storylines, Ryan Renard had a return game in their last game against Payson. It's well documented that he's dealt with injuries all season. His touches have been limited the past 2 games. He only got 8 touches against Payson, but he exploded. He went over the century mark for only the 2nd time this season with 104 yards, and he added a touchdown in for the Titans. Expect a lot more from Ryan Renard this week. I think he's poised to have his best game of the season against Stansbury. What did you see from Renard?
Well,
Jake?
He's been playing well. He's been on the field more, getting more touches, more and more as he's getting healthy. And so I think I've seen his explosive first step, finding that hole, and he found that seam to get that huge 77-yard run, I think. And so the Titans are going to probably lean on him and use him mainly, but they also have Sam Siegel, who's had some big games. So they have some options offensively they can use. And so if he's not working, if they have a game plan to stop Renard, you got Siegel and the receivers. Their pass game's been incredible. So Olympus, their offense, working really well right now.
All right, another storyline is Olympus has scored 21 unanswered points in a quarter in back-to-back games. That's the 4th time Olympus has done that this season. So I think the Titans could make another scoring run against Stansbury. Stansbury has a stout defense, but watch for Olympus to have another really good quarter against the Stallions. The passing game is back, Jack. It's found its stride. Against Skyline and Payson, Olympus went for over 200 yards. That's the first time this has happened since 2018. And that team went 12-1 and lost in the state semifinals. Jack, if this passing game keeps clicking, what is the ceiling for this Olympus team?
I think they got a very good chance of going pretty far in this playoffs, because we know they've been mainly a run-first team in the regular season, and it worked well. And now here having that pass game and still that run game, their offense has been incredible. And with their defense and everyone there, this team is playing well, and they got a chance to go very far.
And the success with the pass game comes back to the play calling. The play calling has been off the charts. The creativity on offense is what's creating this success. And the defensive schemes have been incredible. Against Skyline and Payson, Olympus dominated defensively because of their defensive schemes. The biggest storyline, though, of this game is the Titan D-line versus the Stallion run game. Stansbury has built their offense off a solid multi-back offense. They have 3 backs, Nate Bushnell, Ezra Harris, and Bridger Thomas, that average over 30 yards a game. They've never rushed for under 119 yards in a game. However, if there's a defense that can stop their rushing game, it's Olympus. Olympus leads 5A in TFLs, and they don't have a ton of sacks, and so that means those TFLs are coming in the run game. What have you seen from this defensive line, and do you think they can stop this Stallion rush attack?
I think they have it. I think it's just been the defensive line. They're smart, IQ. They know what they've studied the film. They know what's coming, and so they, of course, sort of recognize what play is probably going, and they go to the right holes. And a lot of times they're able to hit the running back before he gets to the hole and slows momentum down, and that's why they've been so successful in stopping the run here.
And then also we should talk about the linebackers. They're part of that front 7. They're coming up. They're hitting holes. What have you seen from the linebackers, Jay?
Linebackers have been great in those times when they've gotten open seams. The linebackers have filled. They've came over. They've rallied to the ball, and linebackers, just the whole team, like I've said many times, is playing great.
All right. Well, we will see what happens in the trenches tonight against Stansbury. Let's go to our keys to the game. Jack, for Olympus, what does Olympus need to do to win this game?
Well, I think Olympus, they've been successful in the pass game recently, and I think they need to continue with that. They're playing a defense which has allowed 117 passing yards and only 621 rushing yards. That's what Stansbury has allowed. So they've had a very stout run defense for Stansbury, so Olympus, they need to attack with that pass game. It's been succccessful. I don't see why they should switch away from that. Defensively for Olympus, I think they need to stop the run game. I think it should be their primary thing they should stop on defense, because if they stop that, their quarterback for Stansbury has thrown 3 of his 4 picks in games he's thrown for 200 yards. So the more he throws, the more interceptions. So if you can get them in 3rd and longs and force Stansbury to throw the ball deep and more often, I think you're going to have more interceptions and more turnovers. For Olympus, I think that's what they need to do.
What about for Stansbury?
I think for Stansbury, you're playing this good team with Olympus, who has been playing really well, and Olympus, they have a lot of momentum. So with the Olympus team, you can't let them continue that success they had. You got to stop them, really put it on them early, and not let them get going and get into a groove. So I think that's the first thing they got to do with Stansbury is to stop that. And then defensively for Stansbury, they got to move up. And Olympus, they've been doing short, little, quick routes. So if they play plus coverage and not let those open routes and maybe let the deep routes be open a little more, it will give their defensive line time to get pressure. Because Olympus, they've been doing quick routes, not letting the D-line get pressure. So if they can play press coverage, move all the corners and safeties up a little bit, I think that'll help their defense against Olympus' pass game.
All right. Well, let's go to our bold predictions, Jack. What's your bold prediction for tonight?
I think Olympus is going to have 350 total yards of offense.
I like it. I think Olympus gets 3 sacks in tonight's game. I think they get a lot of pressure on this QB and force him to make some mistakes. Your player of the game prediction, Jack?
I'm going to go with Ryan Renard. I think he's going to be back and healthy. I think he's going to have a big game and carry on what he did the last game.
And I think I'm going to go Matt Herron. I think he's going to be the key on that defensive line to stopping this rush attack. Well, we'll close with our score predictions. Jack, who you got in this game?
I think I got Olympus 30-17.
All right. I think I'm going to go Olympus 28-13, moving on to face maybe East. We thank you for watching tonight's pregame show. Make sure to tune in next week for either a pregame show or a normal broadcast. Go Titans.